Sara Gunnervik is a partner at KENDRIS Group and managing partner of KENDRIS Cyprus in Luxembourg. Originally from Sweden, she relocated to Cyprus over 25 years ago, where she has played an active role in establishing and developing international businesses and fiduciary structures. With more than 20 years of experience, Sara is trusted advisor to high net worth families and international private clients, specializing in cross-border structuring, trust, and fiduciary governance, family office services, and long-term wealth protection. She has extensive hands-on experience in designing and managing complex international corporate and private client structures across multiple jurisdictions. Sara holds a Master of Laws with distinction from Lund University and has held senior leadership roles across legal, trust, and fund administration functions. Under her leadership, KENDRIS Cyprus was recognized as Trust Company of the Year 2025. She is known for her technical depth, commercial mindset, and long-term relationship-driven approach to client advisory. Sara, welcome to the Future Makers podcast.
Thank you. You almost made me blush.
Oh, no. Dear. It's a good start.
It's a good start,
from, at least you're not crying.
Yes.
Not yet.
No.
Let's start from the beginning. Kierkegaard says we live life forwards, but we understand it backwards.
Yeah.
How does that apply to your life, especially looking back at your early years?
As we just talked about before this started, I'm born in Sweden, which of course played a big role in this. I've been born in Sweden in the 70s. A very standard medium family, but with a lot of love and a lot of political sense of purpose, and a father who was outspoken feminist. And me and my sister, I have a sister who is older than me, were very much pushed forward and always told that we can do everything. And there was a lot of happiness and love in the family, and no fear of being different. Actually, being different is a good thing. If you're quirky, you should live in your quirkiness, and I think that made me very much. That made me very much. But there was a bit of a collision when I then moved to Cyprus, which I moved to 25 years ago, which also was a different country 25 years ago, coming from that environment where Sweden was at the time, or still, I would say, was at the time at least considered to be one of the most equal countries in the world. And then being put here, I choose to come here, I'm happy for my choice, but being here in matter of hours in a very, very different environment. So that collision also made a lot of things with me.
Can you kind of explain and maybe describe the kind of pro-feminism environment? What was it like? What were some of maybe like more practical things that was you kind of started to consider normal? That was a contrast to maybe, other places you visited.
Yeah. There was no hesitation of that I could not do whatever I wanted. There was no one ever, which is something I get annoyed when I see parents do to their children. You should not be annoyed with what people do with their children, but they say to girls, they say, "Oh, are you tired now?" When they're small, "Are you tired now? Can you hold this? Oh, you're so good. You carry a big thing." And for the boys, they say, "Very good. You did something strong. You're a strong boy." It was never like this for me. We were always encouraged to do more. It was never encouraged, or it was never told to us that we are weak. Because when you say to a little girl, "You're so good. You can carry. Are you tired?" You're basically telling her you are weaker than the other person. So there was never that. It was always pushed. You are strong. You can do this. We persevere. We have a goal. We move how to target. There is no difference. And there was no difference in the family between my mom and my father. They had a very equal relationship. And I think this is the main thing, as if you as a girl see that there is a mutual respect and a mutual feeling of equality. I'm not saying doing the same things, because people are different, but one person's contribution is seen as equally valued as the other person's contribution. I think that's what forms you more than words, more than practicalities. It's actually what you see in your parents, which is important, which goes into the 2-year-old in back of the here, which you, whether you like it or not, will project on the world later.
Of course. Were both your parents working?
Always in Sweden, even in that time, it was very strange for a woman not to work.
And who were the people kind of you grew up with? It was just your parents, or was it extended family?
Also, in Sweden, we have long distance usually from our families because it's a long country. So we very often live far from our grandmothers and grandfathers. So it's really the main family who takes care, together with the society, because there's very good daycare and very good schools, and who takes care of. It's organized thing. You go to school puts you to daycare, parents pick you up at whenever they pick you up. So it's an organized community thing. I have to say though that my father actually went down working less, picking me up very often from kindergarten earlier, and because he was working shifts as well, so it was easier for him. But he took very active part in my upbringing and being with me and playing with me and doing fun things with me.
How do you think that kind of affected your view of men and women in your life and what you like their expectations?
It's completely made me this way I am, and I'm sure that the relationship between my mother and my father is what actually made what I see should be how a man and woman should be. And this is also why it was difficult for me when I came here, when I had an expectation of a relationship, which was not the same expectation as the other part, and then it's a clash. And it works rather well in the beginning when you don't have a child, but when a child comes into play, then all the things that we saw when we were two, everything that you have learned without knowing that you have learned, comes out, and then it's not so easy to compromise anymore, and that's also where the problem is, when you have different expectations.
Very much so. And you've just mentioned like the structures that are already in place in Sweden to kind of take care of the child. It sounds like the government is very much aware of, that the parents are working. They need assistance because the children, rely on them. And in order for parents to continue work, there needs to be some kind of support. Here in Cyprus, we don't have that as much. What is your experience of it?
I hope it's getting better. My son is now 13. I have one son. I'm a single mother. I was single since he was around 6 years, if I remember correctly. It's a long time ago. But I always worked. First, I always worked a lot of hours. I always put my career and very, very high, and I'm proud of that. I don't think that's something I should not be proud of.
Of course.
But it is an issue when you have a child. There's a lot of expectations. First of all, it's a practical thing for the society because most kindergartens finish as 3 or 4. And most work, if you have any kind of little higher position, you will not leave until 6. And then comes the expectation of the family that I was part of. It was a separate family, but it doesn't matter. That why are you working? Your child needs you, and the dependence on then grandparents and help from people, which I also did not have. And then when you hear this all the time and you realize there was no infrastructure, and you hear all the things that you are working and you're not a good mother and you are selfish because you work, then your guilt just flourishes. So it is hard. It's very hard there's a reason why I only have one. It's very hard to be a working mother in Cyprus because the infrastructure is not built for such yet. And it's a very good thing that we work with, that the grandparents are close and that they help. But it also puts us in a position where we have to explain us to them, and a position where we have to explain ourselves to people from another generation. And we are dependent on them. If you have, because people like me and many, we don't have grandparents. And then we have nothing. So then we work like crazy, try to be a good mother in 2-3 hours, and then work when the children go to sleep until midnight for years. And that's not right.
No, it isn't. How are you able to adjust? Because obviously you come from an environment where it was the structures were there and you weren't relying on extended family. Whereas here in Cyprus, it was like this unspoken expectation that you rely on extended family in order to do something. But then you have this emotional burden, as you were saying, this guilt that's coming up, that it's like you have to continue this expectation that they have on you, whilst also still having to rely on them in order to continue doing what you love to do.
Yeah.
And trying to find that balance between.
First, I think I didn't really see it as a problem because I didn't realize a problem, because you go into it and you don't realize that problem until it's hit you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't actually have grandparents, even from the Cypriot side. Mm-hmm. So I was completely alone and not in a relationship where I think I got the support that I needed, hence not being in that relationship anymore. So it is really, really, really hard. And I don't think that people should have to go through that. On the other hand, it made me who I am. It made me focus very, very much on myself, being sure that I have to do this. I have to have an independent. I have to make sure that I have the income. I have to make sure that I have the stamina. I have to make sure that I do this. So it gives you the perseverance that any crisis in life gives you. I mean, all of us have crises in life. Most people go through life with a few crises. And when you're out on the other side, it makes you much stronger. And it is a crisis. And it's very sad that we have to go through crisis mode when we are supposed to care for a little baby.
I want to go back and pause this a little and go back. You finished Lund University and then you decided to leave.
Yeah.
What was it that was drawing you out of Sweden?
Nothing, actually.
Really?
It was completely by chance. Yeah.
Whoa.
I was finishing there, and then I started law school very young.
Yeah.
I did not do any years in between, and law school in Cyprus, in Sweden, is very long. But I was still young. I wasn't feeling ready to go out. I was 23 something, and then I filled in by an application for a scholarship to go abroad, mostly by fun. And I got it. And then they called me one morning and said, you have a choice between going to Canada or London, and you have to choose within 1 hour. And then I just took London and went. It was a complete surprise mode.
Oh dear.
So that means that the things that my grandma always used to say, if you plan things in life, you can be sure that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Most of the things that actually has a meaning in your life or has a consequence in your life is mostly by luck or just happened.
By chance.
Yeah.
But you chose law, I'm guessing, not by chance or by luck. What was it about law that drew you?
It's also a bit by chance.
Oh,
actually.
Really?
I loved dancing. So I danced since I was 5. Ballet and jazz, contemporary, African, everything you can imagine. And I always loved studying. But dance was always my passion. And I also went to some professional courses and these things. But then I realized that it's one thing to be best in your town, but then when you go into the big league, it's not easy to be best anymore. And you also will retire with no muscles in your body when you are 30. Mm-hmm. And I liked to eat food too much to starve myself for a decade. So then I thought, I'm not going to be a dancer. So what am I going to do? And I had decently good grades. So it was medicine or law, pretty much. And I don't like medicine, so I went to law school. But I like it now.
Yeah.
But it also, you're too young to choose these things when you're that age. I mean, 20, you have no clue.
Especially such a big like career path, like medicine and law are. You will have to work so hard in order to commit yourself to this career path, and like you said, you're so young trying to make a decision that
you have no clue. I actually think we should have 2. We should have one first career, then we should have a second career. Should go to university mid-year at the age of 45. Yeah, I think it would be beautiful.
I completely agree. I feel like we are so committed to trying to have one single path in life that it's not fair on us, and it's not fair
because you change and society change, and you
exactly.
So maybe we should go back to study.
What were like your parents' like reaction to your choice of career?
My parents never pushed me to do anything, which is why I pushed myself very, very much, I think. I think that if a parents push you, I think it's your reaction to push back. Sorry, I'm kicking the mic. So they never pushed me to do anything. They encouraged me and they gave me strength, but they never pushed me. My parents were politically active, and I don't always think that they think that law was a very suitable topic. But they always let me do, since I was very young, they let me do what I wanted. As long as I don't hurt anyone and I'm kind to myself, I could usually do what I wanted.
You were quite independently driven.
Yes. But I think they thought of something more society person. I think they would have preferred me to be like a good teacher or a university professor. But yeah, happy as long as I'm happy.
Happy as long as you're happy. So with law, was the image in your head you want to become a lawyer? Was that your goal?
At the time in Sweden, I wanted to fight for humanity and do good things. I wanted to become, I had two ideas in my head. One was to be a prosecutor for family crime against women. And the other one was to become a judge in the family court. Until I went a few weeks in family court. Then I realized I do not want to be here. It's crying every night. It's awful. I don't want to see this, and I don't want to be part of this. I congratulate people who have that stomach, but I don't.
But you always had a heart to help women. What was it that you'd seen that kind of fed that passion?
I was always taught, again from my family actually, now I didn't think about it, but now when you say it, I always taught that we should support the underdogs. We should support the one who doesn't get support from others. We should always help the lower, the people who has not been treated well fairly. And very often that is women, but it doesn't have to be women. It can be immigrants, it can be disabled, it can be people who just didn't end up in a good place. But very often it was women, because that's also easy to define somehow.
You went to London, London to Cyprus.
Yeah.
How did that transition come in?
It came when I met a Cypriot man, my neighbor. So then I went to Cyprus with him.
Went to Cyprus, and you arrived in Cyprus, and you built your career from here.
Yeah.
Was it your first job? Was your first job here?
Yes. I never worked in Sweden. I mean, worked, the summer or the weekends, but not, career work or my work kind of thing. It was the first job when I came to Cyprus.
So what was the first job?
I started working in a law firm very close to here, actually, where we are sitting now in Nicosia.
And what was your experience like?
I think his experience of like every young person at his first job, like, is this reality kind of thing? But they were very good with me. Yeah. I had an EU law education, which was at the time, it was 2002. It was very rare. And they were very good to me. But I think I realized that pure law is not really what I want. I worked as a lawyer in and out for the first 7 years in different law firms, and it was never really my thing. It was a bit of a little too action. Then I worked more as a legal advisor and transaction lawyers in other companies, and that's where the fun starts, when you start happening things. And then I moved into other things. But pure law in law office, for me, it was a bit too slow.
Too slow.
Too much, yeah.
So transitioning out of that pure law and moving into KENDRIS, what was it that attracted you to that role?
I worked with similar business before KENDRIS. What attracted me with KENDRIS is something I'm very proud of, actually. And you have to stop me because I can talk for hours. Because I think KENDRIS has a very right philosophy. It has right philosophy when it comes to work. It has a right philosophy when it comes to client. It has a right philosophy when it comes to ethics. It has a right philosophy when it comes to investing in its people. And I mean, I worked in many places, but you are always more and less proud of where you work. But here, I am proud of that. We at least trying doing it right. The aim is very high in every way, and I'm very proud of that. So I feel very clear that we are doing the best. We are aiming for the best in every single way, and we are asking much from our people to have a very high ethical standard. Had a very high, and I'm proud of that.
But what does that mean? What is having an ethical standard within the company culture, and then I guess towards clients? What does that actually mean?
It means saying no to many of the practices that is widely used, like commissions and transactions and talks here and there. And we have only one interest, and the interest is the client's best interest. They hire us for being a fiduciary, which means that taking care of their interest. And that is the highest interest, and nothing else should cloud that. We should not be influenced by investor. We are completely independent. We should not be influenced by doing businesses that should not be mixed together, like very often happens in Cyprus. You do audit and directorships and these things, which for me should be completely separated. So the whole business model is kept at a high ethical standard, and you can only get that if you also keep that internal of the company as well, because you cannot have one internal and one external, and you have to feed the people in a nice environment with a high ethical standard to stand by, with good examples. Otherwise it has to go through all. You cannot just want to have it here and do whatever you want here. It has to shine through the whole organization.
So you enter KENDRIS, at what position were you in?
I actually started the Cypriot office 9 years ago, so we have a 10-year anniversary next year. I opened the Cypriot office. We were 3 employees, and now we are 40.
What gave you the courage to open an office on your own?
It is not completely on my own, because I have the company behind me.
Yes, of course.
So you don't have the issue with cash flow every month, and you don't have you have processes and things, at least the beginning of something, and you have help. So it's not on my own. I also have very good colleagues with me. I had Marius and Natasha, who is still in the company today, that we work together, and we're a very good team. I'm not scared, and I never was. And I thought it would be, I know it sounds very, very not severe, but I thought it would be fun. And it was. Well, yeah. I'm one of the good things with me is I am very agile. I hate that word because it's used everywhere, like a modern word. But I am. I see rather short term, and I adjust accordingly. And I like to have fun when I'm working. I like to laugh. I like to have fun. I know the work is not always fun. I know life is not always fun. But my aim is to have fun. And setting up a company, dealing with all of these things, making it right, working, it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
What was the transition like, going from working as an employee to somebody in a leadership position, especially as a woman and still probably considered as a foreigner here on the island?
Always.
Yeah.
Xeni. Sometimes that's a good thing, because you can get away with things.
Oh, yes.
Because you don't have to follow all the rules, and they say she's a bit different, she's a Xeni, she can do what she wants.
Okay.
And you can use it as much as you want. I always had I'm very lucky, I always had very good people around me. And I would say unfortunately, those people around me were very often men, because these were the ones that worked with me in this business. It's a very male-dominated business. But I work with very good men who treated me very well. Not all of them, but many of them did. At least there were always 1-2 people here and there that you could know that could help you. And I had many along the way that helped me through, to some people who showed me examples of how I want to be as a leader, and some people who showed me how I do not want to be as a leader. So, it's a school of both ways. I don't think I really thought about it when you become a leader. I came into leadership position decently fast, decently young, too young to really reflect on it and kind of just do. I think it's later you reflect on how you are and how you react. And when you're in it, when you are between 27 and 35, you just try to get through every day. You don't really have a theory to go by. I think you have to go by, I think you get the instinct from the upbringing of the family. You have your main, these are my limits, these are my things, and you follow them. Actually, this is not right what I'm saying now, because I actually took one decision. It's at one specific point I took one very specific decision, very conscious decision, and I live still by it. I used to work in a company which was not a very decently toxic. I think it's almost the only toxic I have worked with. And I worked there for a decently long time. And there was a lot of games going on. There was a lot of aggressiveness. It was a lot of games. And when I left there, I vowed, like they do in the movies, I am never doing this. I am not going to sit in a place and be angry before I answer the phone, before I even know who is calling me. Yeah. I'm not doing this game, even if it become to my own detriment. So that's, for me, is a big, big principle, and I instill this in my team. You do not play games in my team. We work by transparency. Mm-hmm. We work inclusively. If you don't want that rule, I don't care how good you are, you should not be with us. Mm-hmm. This very, very good CEO, ex-CEO of PepsiCo, what's her name? I like her. Indra. Indra Nui or something. Indra. Mm-hmm. She always say that you should understand the game, you should understand the player, but you should not play the game. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very, very wise. And I don't play the games.
You mentioned the word inclusivity. Mm-hmm. I think it's used so often today that I think people are... a lot of the times it's very emblematic, very
It's like agile, it's the same thing, it's just a word you say.
Exactly. Yeah. You need to, if it's not hashtagged, it's, it's not really, doesn't have that same depth.
Yeah.
What do you mean by it? Especially when it comes to your team.
Yeah. When to my team now, you can use the nice hashtag word of it, which means everybody should be inclusive, no matter who you are and things. Of course, I stand by this. This is beautiful. I believe that success comes from diversity. But I think I like the word diversity more than inclusivity. But inclusivity in the team, it's different, because it doesn't really come, at least in my head, it doesn't come from who you are. It comes from, we have a very flat organization. It comes from everybody should have a voice, everybody should have a right to speak. We take decisions together and everybody follow after. But no matter who you are, you're a part of a group. You're included in a group. You're not excluded in a group. More in that old-fashioned context, I think about it in a teamwork.
Talking about just you in the leadership role, how has your experience been like, approaching clients who then, see, okay, there's a woman in leadership here. Has there ever been any challenges in that? Did you ever feel like you have to prove yourself?
I don't think you can ask any woman that question who would say, no, everything went smooth sailing. I mean, there's a lot. It's less now, but it depends on me. And I actually think it depends on the woman itself, because when you are young, you want to, maybe also men, I'm not 100%, because they are kind of fed more. You're so good, you speak a lot and all of these things. We women are fed, speak only when you have something to say, to punch the glass ceiling, be better than everybody else. And of course that feeds, you're running like crazy from when you're 25 to when you're 35. You don't know who you are yourself. You have to fight every single person around you. But I think that, again, my Swedish upbringing, believing that I should have the same right, will the knockdown that I got when I walk off the plane here, that you are not the same, and you don't speak, and you smile, and you're supposed to be pretty, and the whole shebang. But together with having some good people helping me to still believe in me. But it's not easy. I can have countless examples that can make you laugh about things that happen and things that will stay in my mind. And still, I mean, if I walk in a group, if I walk in a panel, in a conference, I mean, it's 10% of women. 10%. And they are kind of they say, and here we have the woman. And, you see how good we are because we invited a woman. We are equal. We are 7 men here all in black suit, but we do have a woman kind of thing. So, and it's still there. Like they think they should have praise for having one woman. While I'm going to generalize now, not all, but most of the panels and most of the discussion we have in those events and these things, the woman, if you really listen to what they're saying, she's far better because she struggled to be there. She's far better, and she would wipe the floor with the rest if she would only be allowed to or given the time to speak or taking. We need to take. And it's important in Cyprus that we have role models. I believe very, very much in role models, especially in a society like Cyprus, that we are emerging the strength of the women. It's still not what it is in Northern Europe. I mean, it's not there. We are still working towards it. So role models are number one. We need to see more women. We need to have them visible. Every woman in any kind of leadership position or just strength position or creativity position or anything accomplished needs to shout it from the rooftop. It's our duty as women in Cyprus to not hide. I know it's convenient. I know it's not always easy, but we have to stand up so that our daughters, I don't have one, but our daughters sees that you can do this. And it's also important that our sons see it, actually maybe even more important in a way, that they see that there is no difference. The woman is the same. We tend to focus a lot on women, but it's equally important that boys see it and see this new reality.
Who have been your role models now, especially in the last few years, as you've been growing the business, or as you've been, raising your son? Who have been the people that you feel have you looked up to during times of, highs and during times of lows?
If I start with life-wise, I when I had my child and I became a single mother, I called my mom and said, "Thank you for everything you did for me. I didn't realize how much you did." Because you never do. So the mother is, the mother is number one.
Of course.
Always. It's the biggest influence, always. I had good friends who really, really took care of me when I quite abruptly ended a long relationship with a child. So I think women friends are extremely important. Your close is friends, is your family, especially for someone like me who kind of left the family. But friends, when I left, I had no one, I had no family here. I was told that I was nothing and couldn't do anything, so my self-confidence was very low. And it came to a point that I burst and just had to go. So I felt like I don't care, I'm just going to throw myself from this cliff. I'm going to go, and whatever happens, happens. Yeah. And when you do that, the universe and the people around you kind of takes you and put you it makes it good somehow. I can't explain it. And those people that were around me at the time and are still around me, I really, really look up to. And as I said, they are not people who have done something great or a PhD or accomplished, but actually like what we see accomplished on podcasts and on TVs and articles. But for me, that's a real accomplishment. Kindness. Yeah. Kindness and standing up for people who actually can't give you anything back at the time. I think that's the most admirable thing. Then we have work. As I said, I am lucky to have always worked with good people most of the time. And I have good people in my company that I really respect and that works with me. I have our leadership position in Switzerland and 2-3 people who help us setting up the office that I admire. I think perseverance is an extremely important word. I think it is the word to success. You can be as theoretical, you can be as smart as you want, but if you don't persevere, you're not going to succeed. You will always come to a crisis. Always you will hit a crisis. And if you don't persevere, you're just going to back. So for me, it's a key word. And I'm impressed by all the people, women, men, immigrants, people with education, people with no education, who show up every day, do what they have to do with a smile, helping the others, trying to find solutions, go home, trying to find solutions, show up the next day, day after day, year after year. So those people I really admire, and we see them everywhere.
How do we encourage perseverance or even teach perseverance?
Role model, you have to be yourself. You cannot It's like, don't do what I preach, do what I do.
Yeah.
And we have within my company, we have a few leaders who really lead by example, and I try to lead by example.
What kind of role model do you want to be for your son? What do you think? How are you, helping him prepare?
That's always interesting because we speak a lot about theories and how we're supposed to implement things, but when it comes to your own and home life, it's very much different. I want him to be kind. That's the most important thing for me. I want him to be kind to others, and I want him to be kind to himself. I want him to help people because we are extremely fortunate in this country, all of us, and I am extremely fortunate. We thank God every day for everything we have gotten. He needs to appreciate it, and he needs to help people who is not so lucky as him. And I think I want him to be able to have happy relationship with the people in his life. And I think you can only have that if you understand the equality of respect for each other. Otherwise, it will break because we are in the age now when we don't really need a partner. Before, a union was a need. It was a project management thing. It was an economic thing. Now we don't need. Women don't need. Men don't need. I think that if we don't have a respectful relationship towards each other, understanding each other's contribution and need, then it will break. A big example of this, and when I see many of my friends, this is the reason what actually breaks the marriages or the partnerships and whatever you have. And I want him to be able to happy and live with people that love him and he can love. So I want him to learn the equality and the respect of others. And I also want him to learn that it's okay to feel feelings yourself, because it's the same thing that we say that women needs to be strong, women needs to be taught. We also need to teach. Boys are also stuck in they're also taught a certain way of behavior. Like as I said in the beginning, you're strong, you can carry this. Maybe he's not strong. Maybe he's one of them who doesn't want to carry, Maybe he wants to cry. Maybe he wants to have feelings, which he's not allowed. Women are in a box, which I have to say is tighter than the boys' box. But boys also has a box. And I want him to feel that he doesn't need to be within that box. The society teach him. And I'm trying to do how I was taught, that if he has goofy ideas or strange ideas, I do them also. So that you say you don't have to follow. Follow is not a good thing. You do what you need as long as you're kind to yourself and others. And you do what you want. Have fun.
How has it been like watching him grow up here on the island, and probably in a very, very different culture to what you have grown up in?
Yeah.
Do you see a difference? Is there anything that you are a little bit worried of, or even more excited about him growing up here?
First of all, I'm decently Cypriot acclimatized. Yeah. I'm almost Kiprea. In many things, I feel very Cypriot. Even if I'm not on paper, I feel very Cypriot. Because I've been here for all my grown up, all the years that affects you, I have been here. One of the good things with growing up here is the warmth of the society, or the warmth of the society. And which the openness to children. In Sweden, children are seen like don't go to restaurants and they're a little bit out. But here it's a warmth, it's very nice. And I didn't really. He maybe have something to say about this, because I think that my nanny says that I raise him differently than someone as a Cypriot child. I think I raise him to be more freely, to speak freely, to criticize, to ask, to not take no for an answer. And that had a little bit of an issue, I think, in school for him when he went into the Cypriot school, because he was used to say, why not? Why? And people say, control, why can't you control your child? And my aim was never to control my child. It was never something I thought you had to do with children, to control them. Yeah. I thought you had to teach them to be good people, and be there when they fall and kind of push them. And then I never thought that I should control a child, but this was very commonly said to me throughout: is to control your child, and I refused. And I think it's easier for me to do. I don't know how the consequences will be for him when he grows up. I hope good.
I think him watching you as a role model, though, he can only see, I can only see like a good role model for him to follow, and
I
probably.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something, I guess, finding that control over yourself is something he has to learn on his own.
Yeah. And also we have to realize that we are not only parents.
Oh.
And I see that women are often told, we kind of are told that this is your purpose in life. It's one of my purpose in life. I love being his parent. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life. It's the strongest thing. It's the most difficult thing we've done in my life. But I'm not only a parent. And we have to be allowed as women to feel that I'm not only a parent. And I think if we start feeling that, people think you're selfish or... But no. Being parent is one part of our life.
It doesn't mean that we don't think it's an honor to be a parent.
No, not at all. It's the most beautiful thing in the world, but we have also other needs and other places. And realistically, it's a very short time of our life that we are parents.
You mentioned how you found like connection to other women like so valuable. I think it's something I've been learning, in the last few years, just how much, it is important for me to be able to understand myself and to grow as a woman, to have these connections, to have this being able to communicate and like share with other women who may be going through the same experience. How have you kind of fostered that community of women? And how do you think it has changed you?
I think it's the making of you. It's the making of my self-confidence. If you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I would be a very different person. They are the making of me. And I hope that I am part of being the making of them. And I don't think it's something that you can really foster. I mean, I know, I'm sure that you have done the same thing. You just meet a person and you just feel like, yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, it's like, yes. And then it's just there.
Yeah.
And then you gather these people. And I even have only 2 male friends who is the same thing that became, you just find these people that you realize very quickly that this is it.
And you just, you don't
you have
realize.
to keep them. That's the difficult thing because it's easy to make friends when you're a child because then you have a lot of time. But to make friends to understand you and when you are to understand each other when you are grown up, when you don't have so much time to give, that's harder. Which is also why you tend to surround yourself with people who are doing roughly the same job because they understand the difficulties of lack of time and things like this. But you need to hold on to the cliques.
What are the values you live by?
It's a very serious question.
It's a very deep one.
I think work-wise, I think it is still, as I said, I took a vow that I will not play the game. I will fight it with transparency, which I was taught by a very nice woman from Ukraine that I used to work with. The value of transparency and what that actually can do to a culture in a company and what it does to yourself and what it does to your leadership. So transparency is very important for me, and kindness and courage. So those are the things I try to live by and I try to instill in my team. Private-wise is much harder. I think we could keep kindness there and being a little bit kind to others, but also kind to yourself. Because when you come up to this work that you give a lot of energy out all the time to other people, and then you need to be kind to yourself and also let yourself rest, which I am very bad at. And most people are very bad at.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I think that's the challenge that we have. And maybe we will realize how to do that when we retire.
When we retire.
Yeah. No, I'm joking, but it is important.
Yeah.
But I think this is my challenge at the moment. I need to learn how to rest because, again, you're a role model even in your bad things.
Yeah.
So your teams and your children will see that and they will do the same as you. So you need this is my area to work on.
It's a lot of pressure to be a role model for others.
It's a lot of pressure to learn how to rest. No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but other people did it for us.
Yeah, of course. What is the future you are building towards? After a value question, we're getting even deeper.
As I said before, I'm a decently agile person, and with agility comes also a bit short. I'm quite good at playing ping pong as we go along, and I think that too strict of a plan, as my grandmother said, will not happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to have. Yes, I have a plan for the next 3-4 years what I want to happen, both in my life and my work. But I think that in 3-4 years, the world and me will be different. Then I make a new plan. Actually, there was not a profound answer, but I think it's the truth.
But it's keeping the future more exciting. You don't have a very strict image, but you get yet to be excited about what is coming.
I hope so, or not. Maybe if it's not exciting, it's good not to know about it now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the world is changing all the time. It's crazy as it is right now. So you don't know. And you have to be able to adapt and more maybe rely on principles and your people than plans.
On the things you can control rather than...
Circle of control.
Exactly. And my last question to you is, for the younger people making a decision about their life now, or looking, at their life now, what message would you like to leave them?
I will leave with my grandmother's message.
Yeah.
Whatever plan you make is not going to happen. No. I think, as we said before, it's very early when you're young to make a plan. And really, you don't know what's going to happen. I think that you should look into yourself and see what is the real values for you. And then each decisions that come ahead of you in the future, you try to use that as a compass. And then it will take you somewhere. And hopefully you have fun on the way. Because if you're too serious, life is taking you to different places, no matter what you have in mind or not.
Yeah. Don't be serious.
No.
Keep it.
Have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's a wonderful message to leave them with. Have fun in life and wherever area.
At least try to.
Exactly, yeah. Find a little bit of a light and entertainment even in the maybe the most dull moments.
Yeah. Have fun and don't let the clicks go.
Oh.
The friend clicks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sara, it's been wonderful. It's been such a warm environment that you've created here, and I'm really, really grateful that you came and shared this conversation with me.
Thank you.